Hmm. I'm not sure if I'm live because I just lost the stream and I had to get reconnecting. So sorry if I'm a little late because having some computer glitches, which is all good. It all goes with the territory at the moment. Here we go. Whoops. Here we go. I think we're here. There we go. So welcome everybody to Friday Night Live. Well, it's the night for me, for Friday afternoon, and a very, very amazing and blessed Independence Day. It is such a huge, huge, huge day of numerology today, which I didn't realize until I just worked it out very casually this morning. So it came to an 8 for me, which I thought was okay, that's interesting because I'm working hugely with an 8. And then I added on the other 2 and it ended up coming to 55. So 55 is definitely for America right now, new independence, a whole new birth of a new child. Something very sacred is being born. So I had thought a while back that I would do this on this day as a closure and a beginning, and just because I'd thrown bits and pieces about my visual issue. So I had thought, and then I thought, oh my goodness, it is actually 10 years. Where did 10 years go? Who knows? So let's first just go by clearing the space, because I think the space needs clearing. And so we bring in the essence of the angels and love and protection and wisdom and kindness and truth and beauty. And thank you deeply for this space and the generosity of the universe and people that I know that are very dear to my heart, for being in this space and allowing me to have my voice. We open the space up to divine beings and divine light, divine sacred codes. So be it, so be it, so be it. Thank you and namaste. I thought this would be quite easy to begin, but it landed up being a little challenging for me and going into a little bit of a spin. But I think we've all been in a bit of a spin. The energies have been really very big since solstice, and we're just like flying along this new wave. Yeah, which is like very interesting. So just trying to ride it and take it and take it and ride it and just be here now. Yeah, I have been planning this, to write a book, to do things, but I haven't like really figured out exactly where to start. So I kind of tumbled into something by divine intervention, which I will share with you as on Monday in my live update. So please be tuned to that. It's a lot of healing and about salt, which we'd spoken about the other day. So definitely some really interesting factors there, which some were known. And then it just tumbled into this. So I've had my nose to try. It's not easy to start writing. Some things you can write. So it's so interesting. Yeah. So excuse me if I'm fumbling and bumbling a little bit. So I'm not sure if I'm even live. So So yeah, the beginning. And sometimes it's helpful to start at the end. So we'd moved to Germany in end of 2009. Alexander was 9, 8. Oh golly, he was 8. Yeah, he was just 8 when we moved. Shame, I thought he was a little older. And yeah, the only thing he could do was count, and he managed to teach himself Ich liebe dich zwei. It had been a very, very challenging and long and arduous journey, but hey, we did it. I didn't really have the money to actually move, so I was just blessed enough to have a German passport. And the Germans, hello Suzette. And I was just going through why I just quickly moved to Germany in 2009, end of 2009. And I'd already lived in America and moved there, so I thought, oh, it's hard. I know it's going to be hard, but we can do it. But it was challenging. It was very challenging, but hey, we did it. But Alex had gone through a lot of mobbing, a lot of personal traumas and disappointments from family members. We'd left a really very beautiful, very sweet, very small, but very closely knit little family in South Africa, which was his sister and his brother, his granny and his aunt, his godmother. He called her fairy godmother because she made plum jams. So anytime anybody made plum jam for Alexander, it was, oh, you must be a fairy godmother. So as I said, Alexander had gone through a lot of mobbing and really taken waves. And he was happy. We made a lot. It was challenging, yeah, but yeah, we got through it. Yeah? And my father passed away. Healy, hello, my lovely. I'm so glad to see you, my love. We've been missing you. It's and everyone in the USA, and sending a special blessings to America on this. It is a day of independence, a personal day of independence. The numerology is huge for this day, and there's so much which is opening on a personal level for everybody. So just sending lots and lots and lots of love and light, and holding America and her beautiful people and her beautiful land and our beautiful planet in a lot of beautiful space. So yeah, for me, as I say, I do remember the day because it was the 4th of July. And I thought, oh, well, that's, the fireworks went off for me. So, okay, so I kind of flipped a coin. I didn't really. It was, Alexander was going on, this was early January 2015. And he said, I hate it, yeah, I hate it. And the mobbing had started again. So I just said, enough, absolutely enough. We're going back to South Africa. We were going to move anyway in Germany somewhere. I had no intention of going to South Africa or going back to South Africa. And I was very, very clear in my headspace that I was not going back to South Africa. I was going to South Africa. Otherwise, it could have been a very, very different story. So this was the beginning of January. By the end of January, I'd actually purchased. Is potato salad ritualistic to eat on 4th of July? Interesting. Oh yeah, America the Brave. It was always so interesting for me that when I went to America, that America and South Africa, I always thought that South Africa was like a little mirror image of America. Everything, our landscape, our people, a lot of the culture. I think I've changed my mind a bit about that, but for a long time, the wagons that we had, the pioneers, We were still living in our deluded. So just go and enjoy, absolutely. Is it traditional to eat potato salad on 4th of July? I didn't know that. In Germany, it's traditional to eat potato salad on Christmas Eve. Sausages and potato salad. Okay. I do make the most amazing potato salad. So it was really interesting when we moved back to South Africa. Well, when we moved to South Africa. So I bought a place, I looked all over, and it was really interesting as well because we were going to move anyway. And the cost of moving in Germany was actually to somewhere bigger city in Germany was almost the same as moving a whole container back to South Africa. Hey, Victor, we need, sorry, I'm also a little like, well, Peachy's really having a bit of a tough spot right now. Actually, his computer's crashed, so it's really a seriously tough spot for him. I don't know if anybody's heard from him, but just send him lots of love. I've said to him, I hope he does connect with somebody, connects with me a little later. Obviously, that's devastating for him to have no computer. As you know, he creates and holds so much through the amazing images that he creates. So I did this big bang down the road and the heavens opened. Okay, we're going back. So bought a house, organized cats, dogs, organized a container. My father had died in 2013 and had left me quite a nice, decent amount of money, quite a substantial amount of money. But part of his legacy was that he wanted me to, there was a sum of 40,000 euros here, which he wanted me to have when he did pass. Well, that's part of the story. And that was supposed to come to us immediately that he died, but it didn't come. It was like this whole rigmarole between my sister, the church, and etc. But this is my book. This is going to end like opening up and just taking this slowly. How much I will share, I'm not sure. So I packed like an absolute lunatic. Just packed. There was no time to really focus on doing anything. By then, I'm quite a collector. I had brought some things over to Germany, but I had a house full of crystals. My house was an IKEA dream. Everything was pretty much white, and we managed to find this townhouse in South Africa, and almost no places take animals. But anyway, so we packed dogs, cats. It's a big mission to take your animals out of the country. So it's backwards and forwards and passports and stamps, and it's Germany, so you need more stamps and more medication, and backwards and forwards and more stamps. I think every step of my life is like a spiritual explosion. So I planned that I was now going to work one of the first times in my life that I had an opportunity. I'm going to plan and work on the numerology. So I worked it out quite quickly. I just worked it out now. I think it was a 6, which is my life path number. So I worked it out. I was working it out again. It's not really that important right now anymore because it didn't work. That I would arrive on my birthday, which is the 31st of March in 2015. Before that, Alexander had overheard his brother talking on the phone to me and saying, "Are you effing mad? They'll kill you here. You're effing mad. You don't know how to live here. They'll kill you." And then, of course, you don't tell this to a 13-year-old. And now he doesn't want to go. So he was, "No, I'm not going. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go." But anyway. So in between all of this, I packed boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. And hello, beautiful Grace. You're in the bad vibe bucket. That's okay. Henny, we've been sending you lots. Well, I know I have. I think we all have been sending you a lot of love. Yeah. I was going to send you an email, and then you popped your beautiful little Heaney onto the channel. I think so many of us have taken us into the bad vibe bucket, or the let me just be still in the corner bucket. Lots of buckets going on at the moment. Huge energies popping around, guys, and this is now beginning again. So we arrive. I try to like organize all this really carefully. That we arrive in South Africa. I know that we've got no furniture now. So I mean, I packed everything except the kitchen sink. I stocked up on whatever I could, cleaning products, all sorts of things. And it was a container absolutely full. Full. See you later, Heaney. Thanks. So we've been there a couple of days. The dog and the cat arrived. So we had this huge empty house. When I arrived at the complex, I arrived in South Africa. Oh yeah, so the flight was cancelled. So Yuki wanted to arrive on the 31st of March, my birthday, but the flight was cancelled because they'd had a volcano eruption, and the flight couldn't fly because of all those sparkles in the sky. So I spent my birthday in a hotel, so we just slept and we caught the next plane out, which, oh, ho, we arrived in South Africa on Monday, April Fool's Day. I'm coming. So the universe had other plans. So all my numerology didn't work. So yeah, I had no money with me, no South African rands, and my bank wasn't liquid yet. They hadn't managed to sort that out. Some things worked, some things didn't. I'd managed to sort everything out from Germany except a school for Alexander, which she'd promised me that when I arrived I had to just ask for her and Alexander would move into the school. So I managed to get a taxi. I told him I had no money. He was amazing. He said, don't worry. Energies were really interesting. There was an African lady. She was now living in England. She refused to go with a taxi. She was absolutely terrified. She was terrified to be in South Africa. She said, no, there's too much crime. She won't catch a taxi with these people. So anyway, we called a taxi, phoned the agents, and we got to the place. He said, could you pay the taxi for me? And we got there, and the gates opened. Now, these are gated complexes. I think you have similar things in America. And the energy was, my first impression was very quiet. Okay, it was a Monday morning. I was like a little, very stressed because we'd packed so quickly and getting over. I think the energy is so strange. My first thought was like Stepford Wives energy, or there's a case where Edgar Casey walked into a lift, an elevator, and then he walked out again. And somebody said, why did you walk out? He said, no, because there's no soul there. It's dead. There are people in the lift, but there are no souls. And the lift actually broke the cable and everybody was tumbled down and was killed in the lift. So that's the kind of feeling, with the others, just like all split second stuff. So we got the keys to the place. It was interesting. It was really, it's beautiful, you just buy off a picture. Took around, the complex. Obviously, everything very different. Oh, Trista. Oh, thanks. Oh, cool. Awesome. And Trista, there's going to be an awesome thing on Monday with lots of healing and salt and all sorts of interesting things. It's just that this is an anniversary for me. So anyway, I bought paint so I could paint the house. I've got nothing. No beauty lights. And I bought a spade so that I could start digging the garden, and a fork so I could start digging the beds in the garden, because I absolutely love gardening. And I think the next day the dog and the cat arrived, and I packed two little cushions in my suitcase and a candlestick so that we could like sit on the floor and eat with a candlestick at least. Schools were on holiday, so it was okay. So anyway, we just managed to do things like so quickly. I knew I had to, and I was blessed. I had been left quite a considerable amount of inheritance. So not that much. I've always been very frugal with money, which is why I've managed to survive. And I didn't see, oh, Yuki, I didn't think that this would actually change anything at all. Baby. Sorry, I'm having a... No, they didn't, Grace. No, but they had to have a lot of vaccinations, etc., etc. Luckily, no, they didn't. No. I was very happy with the people that actually moved them over. And yeah, they delivered they delivered them to the place, I think. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I do have a very good memory, photographic memory. But that was passports and lots of stamps. The cat wasn't so difficult. The dog was very difficult. And then they give you lots all, and just then they said, no, just giving these other injections, inoculations, rather just in case, otherwise then they have to go into quarantine. But I think it was a little traumatic for them, but they were very happy to be there. And he had this beautiful garden. So then the container, I got a car very quickly. I was lucky. I just had my daughter, and she kind of did help me and her husband then at that time. We had 2 bowls. She bought me a kettle and a bread thing and a toaster, because she had the same one at home. So that was my housewarming present. And we managed on that until the stuff arrived. I can't remember, but it wasn't very long that it took. And shipping is quite quick, actually. So lo and behold, this big Pantechnicon arrives. It was really, I took a full container. And the guys still laughed. It's strange. I'd used the same movers for many years. They used to, and then they moved into international. So I'd known these guys, some of them for years, for like over 20 years. Some of them had still been there. And when the container opened, one white feather flew out. That was the only space that was left in the container for a feather. So we had a good laugh at that. Oh, they were amazing. I must tell you, contrary to much, the South African guys were so much better at moving than the German guys. Because I still said to them when they were moving here in Germany, I said, "Oh, you Auslanders." No, they're Germans. Oh, okay. Because their moving skills were not the best, and we couldn't find all the screws, because everything comes apart in Germany. And these guys said, but they're supposed to put the screws somewhere where you can find everything, because everything comes apart: the bed, the furniture, the cupboards. Anyway, we got in as best we could, and then I managed eventually. I went to the school, couldn't get Alex, so there was so much stress that we went through. I know that I went for a beautiful massage, and the godmother, my blessed sister-in-law, she was like so weird. It was like, because I said, "Oh gosh," I'm like amazed. I'm surprisingly clear, considering what I've been going through for the last 5.5 years. And I mentioned to her, it's so weird. Like I keep bumping into doors. She said, don't worry about it. You're just out of your element. You'll settle down. Well, okay. You don't think about anything. It's a new place, bump into doors. And I have a little theory that you only really settle into a place when you can make a cup of tea in the dark. You don't have to turn the lights on. So pretty much all I had to do in South Africa was buy a car and buy a fridge and food and toilet paper, because I didn't pack toilet paper. It was a big joke. I did not pack toilet paper, but I packed washing powder and cleaning. So it was really a soft landing that we moved in. And I thought, okay, no problem, we'll get Alexander to school. Now, South Africa is a little. Did you have to wash? And when I packed, no. I can imagine that from Australia it's very strict. No, I didn't. It was quite complicated to find anybody to actually move from where I live, because it's like so far away. And there was an extra little bit that needed to come with it, my garden bench and what else was it? I can't remember. My garden bench and something else. So it was another little box. And to find somebody to do a small package, the big container was fine because they just picked that up. And I don't know, I don't even think it goes from Germany. They travel across Europe and they take it usually to England. But I managed to find a great South African guy that did the small stuff. His name was Zach. He lived in England. I've done an amazing amount of stuff in Germany. I mean, it was hard. I mean, I only had my 9-year-old. I was like 9 when I went to Germany for a few weeks, and I mean, I'd learned this German songs when I was 2, and my Oma came over to South Africa, and then I went over to Germany for 6 weeks with my mom when I was 9. It was kind of more recuperation, and you pick it up very quickly, yeah. But I couldn't read it or anything. And we had like little German things, and we used to sing tapes to my Oma. It was long distance traveling. So like really, it's very sad. But hey, it is what it is, And South Africans really know about it very much. Yeah, very, very, very strict. Yeah, you're not allowed any ivory. And what you said there about crystals going over as well. I mean, I know I wasn't supposed to take alcohol, and I did. And I also put plants because I did. I put some plants. I had a beautiful rose garden here, so I thought, well, they're going to die anyway. Nobody's going to look after them here. So I packed some of them in a container. And I had bulbs, which I didn't buy especially because I had bulbs that I was going to plant here, but it was such a quick split-second decision to move. It's not as stupid as it sounds, but it was. I mean, Alex was seriously mobbed, and the bloody shit had started again, and cyber mobbing, and they're next level here, absolutely next level. And they were sending him these huge, big pornographic, big dicks, black dicks. Oh, that was like horrible. And he was just, I hated you every day. And I reached out and said, bang, enough. Now we go back. So anyway, back in South Africa, I'm trying to get up. I go to the school that had told me that I could. It was a government school, because I mean I worked out my finances. I was already paid too much for the place, which wasn't that bad, but the monthly levy was very high. Which I thought that's going to be really, really tricky. Yeah, because I'd worked on my finances. I knew that I would either start teaching or pick up a lot of my clients. I've always managed to do something. It was very different to what I was doing in Germany, because Germany I couldn't work with my language, and you need so many skill papers to do anything. So what I was doing in Germany before I left, I trained myself up through the Helen de Ron method of teaching English to children. So I did that, and then I also did kind of a pairing, where I would be a glorified babysitter to a few people and do everything in English with their children, play games, blah, 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 cook a meal for them. And it was really great. They could have like the whole afternoon off, come home to pancakes on the table. We played soccer, but everything was done in English. Both the children, so it was kind of glorified babies, but it was nice and I enjoyed it. It wasn't that my full thing. And I did crystal jewelry and I started selling crystals. I painted, which was also, I managed to heal my body a lot here. I had a beautiful journey through the medical profession here. We had a lot of pain. I had a lot of losses here. Alexander also had extreme losses, deep losses of the heart. I started painting. I mean, I've always painted, but I got like carpal tunnel syndrome in both my hands. It was extraordinary. I don't know what it was. Well, my doctor said it was the neck. As he said when I came out of hospital, he said, well, now we know everything that's not wrong with you. They wouldn't let me out because they couldn't find it. And they did tests and blood tests. I said, please, it's my neck. Please, it's my neck. But you know, they call them the white coats here. And I think for Alexander here, first time round was somebody had kind of warned us that you never tell a German they're wrong. So no, you don't tell a German they're wrong. And that was part of what he did, you know, he would correct the teachers about how they pronounced English. No. Okay. It cost me 76,000 Rand. So at that time it was about 7, because it was 10 to 1 then. So that was about 7,000 euros. Now it would be 3,500 euros to ship a whole container. And it would have cost me about 5,500 euros minimum to move from my village to Berlin or to Cologne, which was where I would have gone. And you know, you think, oh, it's been absolutely crazy. And when I was looking at apartments, you know, just pictures, and I thought, oh, another one of those pokey, flipping German apartments, you know. Or they've all got, even houses, they've all got those dormer, those rooms like that, yeah. Well, you know, we know a lot about moving in South Africa because so many people do, and almost every family has got, everyone, and black, yeah, and Indian, and everybody have got somebody overseas, you know, long distance grannies or mothers. It's very sad. And there are two ways that you move. You know, I always do my research. Maybe you've gathered that. That either you move where you know you take absolutely everything, because you don't even have to buy a teaspoon, or you go with nothing and you start again. Okay. The other thing is to either move to a big city where you've got lots of things and you're just like nobody and you just kind of get things done, or often with children that you move to a smaller village, a smaller place where the pace is not so frenetic and you can acclimatize slower. Obviously, with children, it's always a lot easier because they go to school. Yeah. So I chose. This is not where my father came from. My father came from Berlin and down south. This is up north. My mother's half sister moved here, which is why we kind of moved. Well, not really. My daughter, there's so many, you know, there's always 101 reasons. It was mainly the schooling, and Alex, I've been homeschooling Alex. He went to school, but then he was like so dreadfully bullied because when he was in grade 2, he was like a grade 6 pupil. So then I was homeschooling him, but it's very difficult to homeschool and run your own business at the same time. And a house is like complicated. So I homeschooled until, and I said, well, I'd either be moving to Germany, and you can't homeschool in Germany. Das ist alles verboten. Almost it's alles verboten. For the first year and a half, yeah, for me, when I'm looking on the internet, it is alles verboten. So Alex went first to my mom's half sister, and you know, it was also one of the. It's like I was really not sure whether Alex should, if we should do this or not. I was pressurized a lot by my daughter. Who said, "I don't want to be in South Africa. I'm not going to have my babies in South Africa. I'm going to Germany. And what will people say if I don't go to Germany?" And blah 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 blah. So I mean, there were lots of reasons. I wanted to get away from my big son, who was like, I wanted him out, the big cuckoo, out the nest. There's a 21-year difference between my children, and 17, 18 years, 21 and 18 years, yeah, between them and Alex. So it was a big difference. Hey Zane, so nice to see you here. Yeah. So I don't know if you're going to go back, Grace. You will do. The stuff, it's so, all the stuff that we tie around our necks, stuff. It's insane. And before I left, I was like writing this list on my fridge of things that I could do. And it was because I'd done a lot of crafting, and like I could do shabby chic, I could do furniture, I could do this, I could do that, I could teach. I didn't think I'd be able to teach English. I could make jewelry, I could continue doing the feng shui, I could teach. So I was just writing whatever came into my head. And sort of a friend of mine said to me, "What is that list?" I said, "That's what I'll do." She said, "Oh, you're insane." I said, No, I'm not insane. It's just that if I get stuck to do anything, then there's stuff that I know that I just look at that list, like because they do very beautiful display things here. Yeah, the arts and crafts here are next level. Yeah. And her song for me, she said, "What do I think of you going there?" She said, "Insane in the membrane." She's saying that. So yeah, so now we've got to get to school. So we bought a car. Stupidly, I wouldn't do it again. I just thought I'm going to, because I also didn't want everybody was like, my son-in-law was like, he didn't particularly like me, but we'll talk about another story in another book. I think he has a lot to do with the problems that happened. Not that I'm blaming, but these are things that will be. I move on. I just keep moving on. Where was I? So yeah, we got a car. I got a brand new car. It was wonderful. First time I ever had a new car. I'd always had like little, not a fancy. So I've got a Hyundai practical diesel because I wanted to travel South Africa. I've been all over, well, not all over, but many places in the world, but I've never really seen much of South Africa, and that was kind of one of the things I wanted to do, was to travel. So that's why I did get a diesel. It came with balloons and singing music and all sorts of wonderful things. I did like my little car. It had a nice number plate. I called it was DR, so I called it Dr. 22KZ. So I said at the time, if you know anything of politics, Zuma was still in power. So I said it was 28. That's how I remembered it. I always make funny stories. It was DR22 King Zuma or Kill Zuma. He did a lot of damage to the country. So now I had car. Now still thought, I'm just going to go and get the uniform, because this woman was so like, "No, don't worry, over the phone. You'll be fine. We'll get you into school. There'll be a place for you." So this is at the government school. But like I think most areas, that you have to be in a zone. You can't come from out unless you work in that area. So we go to, if anybody knows South Africa, was Edenvale. And I asked to speak to her name was Barbara, somebody. And I said, "Well, we're here with the people that I spoke." She was obviously having a very bad menopausal day that day. And she said, "Well, I can't help you." I said, "But you promised me over the phone." You learn. I mean, I get most things in writing. It's not an easy thing to move. And I did this really on my own with Alex. "I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They're going to kill us. I don't want to go." And she was just so rude. She said, "Well, you should just go to this school that's in your zone." Now, the area I bought in was like quite an affluent area called Bedford View. But the school, Bedford View High, has gone to such wreck and ruin. Kids still go there. It's mainly, but like more, about 2/3 of the windows are broken. Okay. So I thought, oh shit, okay, this is now a disaster. So I knew he wasn't a Waldorf school. And the school system is very different in South Africa, and any good schools is usually got a very, very high waiting list, especially if you're white. And there was no ways I was going to homeschool him. And just that was extremely traumatic, yeah. Just going from school to school to school to trying to get him in. And eventually we found it was a Baptist type convent, a private school that wasn't like 3 arms and 2 legs, but so now really the finances are like starting to drain. These are not the things I'd thought of. Well, this was not what I'd planned, okay? As well as like arriving on April Fool's Day because of the aeroplane being cancelled. So it's through the numerology that for the first time in my life I'd really so carefully worked out with it. Because now I'm moving. I was very clear, I'm not going back to South Africa. I'm going to South Africa because I had no idea what was going to be. I knew it would be very different to the South Africa that I'd left 5.5 years ago. So in my headspace, I was moving to South Africa. So it would have been a very different story if I had said I was moving back, because it would have been a very different story. So this is going to be, this is like down the line, this is just the beginning. This is going to be an expose of intense corruption, murder, hits on people's lives, the games people play, the food games. So be warned. Clink, yes, yeah, it's been an interesting day. So we get Alexander into the school. Now, I don't know what was. I mean, Alex was like, by now he's very stressed. He's a 13-year-old boy. Was he 14, 15? No, he just turned. He was 13 when we went back. So he's heading into puberty. He has now arrived in this country. So we go and get school uniforms. We go and get books for him. He just wants, and when Alex wants something, he starts in my ear, and he starts loudly, and he starts loudly in front of people, and he says sometimes things that, shouldn't be said, and especially loudly in front of other people. So he can be a little traumatic there. So we get him all the books. And I think also being in Germany, he had to do so much for himself because I couldn't help him. Like maths is completely different. They would do it different. They work out it in a different system. So I couldn't help him with mathematics. Obviously, anything in the language I couldn't help him with. And English he didn't really need that much help with. The biggest help he should have had was not to argue with the teachers. It's not a suit of clothing, it's a suit of clothing, says he. Oh, and it's not a ghost, it's a ghost. They did not like Alex. Yeah. And he did tumble with the Germans' brains, and he was brilliant little musician, but they really like. He was a beautiful artist, but the same thing. It must be colored in the lines. It must be measured exactly. I think as christening gifts, all Germans are given a watch and a tape measure, a very sharp pencil. So the stress is mounting, but we're just doing it. So Alex gets into the school. I explained pretty much the situation. Obviously, I'm in a position where I can pay the whole year up front. And, it's terrible. The rich always get the good deals. If you can pay the whole year, you get an immense amount of discount. So I explained that, he speaks South African, but he doesn't know South Africa. And he can't do the subjects in English. He can do them in German. And maths is going to be very different. But we'll just take this step by step, and it's not a huge, big school. Alex is a Virgo. Yeah. Alex, thanks, Grace. My bomb day baby. He was born on September the 11th. Bomb day baby. Big surprise was there, Alex. Anyway, it'll be a whole nother book about Alex. The book of Alex. Yes, it will be healing for me, but I think it will be more healing for other people, and just to know what you can look forward to or not do in life. Yeah. So yeah, he needed that stability, and I really tried to give it to him, but it was like, because he's an earth person, so I know that he needed like huge stimulation, and words, so from the fire element, but he needed that foundation, that ground, and so he's also Virgo. Cool, interesting, Grace. I'm Aries. What are you? I'm double Aries. But I temper it. I really learned hard to temper it. It doesn't rise its head. So it's like, I get angry, so then I make steam. So Alex is now at school. I'm bumping into things. School is not far. It's just up the mountain, down the mountain. And we live near a mall, or like a really nice mall. And South African children culture, teenage culture, children is where they especially in the cities, they're more rats. Nobody rides bicycles and walks around, or their skateboard parks, but very few. Very, very, very few. I know a lot of the new developments have changed where they have like a lot like they have in Australia, where they have a lot of things within that development, activities, etc. for children, but there was very little in South Africa. And of course, people, it's this what gevaar is dangerous. You don't, and you can't ride a bicycle around. Well, I suppose you could, but whatever, you don't. Everybody lives in their car. Most people. I say everybody now. You see, I'm talking like a white South African, your average normal white South African. Okay, so you know the Aries temperament. My daughter's also Aries. And my other son is Sagittarius. I have interesting children. We all have interesting lives. Oh. So we have the hotspot, the best, most amazing place. And of course, Alexander's the new kid on the block, so everybody wants to know Alexander, and everybody comes around to the house. I've got like this, the shipment has arrived, and I managed to paint the house, and I am unpacking. And I used to say that, and I thought about it. Yeah, you bloody well had. Like I have all the demons of hell after me. I'm unpacking and sorting out things and cleaning and doing it. It's like it's intense. It's because I want to just carry on with life. And I have this thing that you don't let stuff like that get in the way. Oh, unpacking. Now kids, of course, are coming, and some of them are smoking, and it was really Alexander, when he first went to the school, he said, "Oh, this guy's so nice. He's taking me to gym," but he's like a real redneck South African. My God, the first lot of children that came into our house. And I remember this is a private school, so parents aren't. There were some there because they do some charity work, which is beautiful. So it's very cool, very mixed, and it was really nice in the beginning because you had a lot of like quite poor children, your parents that could afford things, and then you had like seriously wealthy kids, mainly Black kids, like seriously wealthy. Now, here's Alex, comes from Germany, where the rules are, there's a rule for everything, every single thing. And these kids, this guy is like, dad's like one of the richest guys in South Africa. He's going to marry Thabo and Beck, his daughter. They've already arranged the marriage. He's not coping with this at all. He's having his teenage puberty drama about it. He's 15, but he has a Hummer, a white Hummer, which he drives to school alone. Our driving license is 18 in South Africa. Okay. Everybody wants to come to our house because we're near the mall, so they can go up to the mall. And I usually take them, or sometimes they would get an Uber back, which wasn't far. But here's Alex. He's 13. He's 13, nearly 14. And they can go anywhere, and they can sit in the corner, and they can order beer. What the fuck's going on here? This is like really not okay. Why are they even serving you? Now, you don't want to be too German because, when in Rome, well, Alex doesn't know any of this stuff. These kids come into my house, these little white fucking monsters, like, well, some of them like serious, like white trash. Like South Africa's finest. I've got all these beautiful things. They hold the bowls, they hold the glasses. I remember I didn't have any drinking glasses. I only had beautiful wine glasses. Some are really good. And he looks at me, he says, do you have any glasses? I said, no, and he just drops it. Look, I would go to sleep, and what the fuck are you doing? Alex is too terrified. I mustn't talk to these people. They're telling him now how he's got to live. And, because he doesn't know. He really honestly doesn't know. I would like all this beautiful alcohol that I brought from South Africa, from Germany. Alex didn't drink. He's not a drinker, and he wasn't a smoker. Before we left Germany, like, he wanted to just smoke dope with his friends at school, and he had a really seriously bad reaction. They don't have a big problem about marijuana here. It's now it's illegal, but it was. But he had serious aversion to it. So we had to go to the doctor, and they gave him this medication, which made his tongue hang out. So I did take him back to the doctor because like a dog like this, because he's got a little psychotic on the stuff. So I took him out the waiting room. I said, can't you give him something? Can't you just like give him Valium? Just like calm him down. So, okay. I always tell the doctors what to do. So they gave him a drip of Valium and let him just calm down so that he couldn't stumble home without his tongue hanging out. Apparently heard that this medication that he was on, when he went to the doctor just laughed. And Alex told him he did smoke marijuana with his friends because he was leaving, and he wanted to just like do this. So we know Alexander couldn't smoke marijuana. Or he was very terrified. It was a very terrifying experience for him. So that was just as we were, I was still packing madly. So now he's at the school. Okay. And then the second container, little boxes, arrived from Germany. And I remember, I'm trying to think what his name is now. It's a really rich guy. I love him, actually. He's an absolutely beautiful boy. And this box is like, I made it extra big, and he's digging down in the box. And he comes out with this thing. It's a big jar of Vaseline, which I said, now, Vaseline is really important in South Africa. They use a lot, and I didn't know, but now we do know that they do a lot of dark magic with Vaseline. Some good carrier. A lot of like unpleasant things have been done with Vaseline, but he pulls it and he comes up like this. Like, it's like one of the richest boys in South Africa, and the Africans, because it's cheap, and they use it to as a cream. It's a good barrier cream for lots of things. So it comes in, it's like the richest boy, black face, beautiful little dreadlocks, big white smile. And we had Vaseline. So, okay. So, I can't remember, shit, I can't remember his name. Anyway, not important. So, I've unpacked, pretty much unpacked. You know, some things I haven't unpacked, but I was like determined not to leave a mess. So, even like if things were, like I had a lot of like artificial flowers and beautiful, so I just put everything pretty. I love pretty. Very, very pretty. So I just put something, okay, we'll come back to that now. I had all these amazing clothes, which I wanted to sell. It's like, oh, shabby chic stuff. Oh, and so reasonable here. And that was one of the things I wanted to, it was on the list that I could actually import this stuff from Germany, because just buy it. It's made in Turkey. It's absolutely beautiful stuff with lace and pearls and sorts of yummy, yummy things. And as I said, very reasonable, especially when it's on sale. And like Holland is really cheap when things are on sale. Full price it's expensive, but on a sale you'll buy like ski pants, what do you call them, whatever, for like a euro. Yeah, that used to be like 15 euros. So there was like lots of things that I could have done that were on my list. But anyway, these kids were absolutely insane. And I would have problems with the guys at the security, that they would just let these kids in and didn't have to go through. And you can't really talk to anyone. And I said, please don't let them in. Like, if I'm not home, you know, you must buzz the buzzer. Anyway, this continued. And the kids were doing parkour all over the building. And I said, you know, this is like really not cool. Before they got to such a point, they were absolutely wild animals. We decided to have the good old South African braai. So we had a swimming pool up there. So up at the swimming pool, there was a braai area. So I do my usual amazing chicken wings, and the whole pile of boys, and they do the braai. Now in Germany, you can drink beer and soft alcohol from 16. So some of these kids, I think they had like, I don't know what they brought. They had like hunters or something, cider. Oh, there was also a lot of cooling. I can't remember. There was sitting down. There was only five or eight boys or something like that. So I made a fire and I got my share, and then I said, okay, I'm going back down to the house, to our little house. Just pack up nicely when you're finished. So then they came on down. The next morning, I get this knock on my door from this guy next door to me. Before that, I have my car. I park my car backwards because it's like Germany, you know. You want to park backwards so you can go out forwards quickly and it's safe. No, I mustn't park that way. Sure, okay, fine. Park the other way because he doesn't want the smells in his window. Fine, not a problem. Just talk to me nicely. You know, we have rules and regulations or something. Oh, we'll soon teach you how to live here. You're going to teach me. I've been in Germany, guys. I sort my garbage. I sort my batteries. I sort everything out. I don't play my music out. I don't do anything between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. You're going to teach me how to live. I've lived in Germany for 5 years. They teach you very hard how to live. Anyway, he knocks on the door and he says, have you seen the pool area? I said, no. Look kind of weird at a bar. And he's Hannah in my ear, telling me how despicable it is, and this is totally unacceptable, and blah, and blee, and boo. And he's like one of these sort of really kind of old people. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Now in Germany, 16, and in every child pukes. It's like a big thing for the kids to drink beer and wine. It's like a huge thing for them. Other alcohol, 18, and they're very strict about that. But they don't mind if you drink at home. Like, you mustn't drink hard alcohol, but if you can have wine at home, it's fine. They don't have a big thing about it. But they're different drinkers, okay? So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, what is this going to look like? What did these kids do to me? What did they leave behind? I'm thinking it's going to be just absolutely awful. So I get up there and I look around and I said, well, where's the mess? What's the problem around the bra area? Well, there are a couple of cigarette butts on the floor. And it was actually me. Then I toasted marshmallows and there was like marshmallows on the grill. Otherwise, nothing else. And the cheese aren't like completely straight. So I said, well, what's the problem? I mean, I picked up a couple of these cigarettes literally in my hand. He said, well, you can't tell me that these children are like 18 and allowed to smoke. I said, I don't know, you know, I don't know the various ages of these children. I said, well, is this all it is? No, and the clubhouse. So go around to the clubhouse. The chairs are a little skew, and there's another couple of cigarettes, and there's a packet, you know, plastic packet, a thing from holding like 6 beers or whatever they'd had that was lying on the floor. I said, is this it? Yes, and they broke the door to the bathroom. I went to have a look. I said, oh, come on, don't be ridiculous. That was broken long ago. You can see they didn't break the door and it didn't damage the light fitting. They didn't, you know, you're trying to like kid here. Anyway, and he's part of the body corporate, and that's my beautiful next door neighbor. I did later see that his wife had a big black eye, which I thought was a bit weird. Didn't see it for a long time. Old book. But he was terrible. And he had a serious drinking problem. But it doesn't matter, but just like live and let live, you know. So he's next door to us. Now, for some strange reason, I thought that I would. No, it wasn't a strange reason. Well, obviously, all these kids are driving at school, but I just thought, you know, I need to teach Alexander to drive. I'm just a woman on my own. I don't really, you know, if something happened, it would be nice that he could actually just drive. And you know, most kids are driving. In Germany, they're driving. Like on the farms, you can do what you like because we live in farmland here and all kids drive tractors. And almost everybody knows how to drive by the time they're 14 here. You know, remember we have the das Auto und das Autobahn. So I'm slowly teaching Alexander in the little side roads to do just the very basics of driving. And you know how excited you are when you first can drive, you know. And I was going to a body corporate meeting one day. Oh dear Alex, you know, they don't listen. So I said, okay, you can drop out and then you can drive the car back down. The meetings in the clubhouse. You can drive the car back down to the place, to our house. Well, he thought he was, so he revved. Vroom, 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 vroom. I think he's got like, you know, his Hyundai, his Hummer, or the Ferrari that the kids also got. The kids are insane, you know, the money is like insane. And then I get back home after the meeting, which I've now like put my name down. I'll be a body corporate member. Because it's always better. I didn't really want to be a member, but you go to meetings, you want to know what's going on. This woman then comes, I think she was at the place. And she comes to my door. She knocks on my door. She proceeds to shout and scream at me for the next hour. Because my child was revving the car down to the to park it. It was absolutely insane. I said, well, I'm sorry that I've got the biggest and the best place. We've been here for so long and we'll teach you how to live here. And this is okay. I knew South Africa was conservative, but this is like next level, guys. You've got to know, you know, and people don't say hello to anybody here. It's very mixed racially. but nobody says hello. I did kind of talk to the people upstairs. I would like force myself on them, hello. And they had kids that made this intense noise above me. I don't know what it was. It sounded like they had a bowling green, but they had little bikes. I said, oh, don't stress about it. I don't mind children's crying. I can't take, but if it's happy noises, it's okay. And really, I shouldn't be home in the day. Most people are out. We'll go into that a bit later. It was a very interesting setup that was upstairs. Yeah. I learned a lot. Boy, oh boy, did I learn a whole new world. But I've still got my old mentality. I'm just nice to everybody. I've been in Germany. Yeah, and they were driving out to the field. Yeah, and so all at the age of, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's not a big deal. And everybody's riding their bicycles without hands. Germany, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but just know your rules. And it suited me in a way because it's like, just know your rules because then you can break them. When you know the rules, you can break them. It's been my edit for a long time. And it's really important. The first year and a half that I was here, whatever I looked up on the internet or something, or people was going to do something, they said, oh, no, this is verboten, including Alex going to school in May with sandals because it was too cold. So he came home. I mean, it's verboten. You're not allowed to go to school in sandals. I suppose that's why you had socks and sandals. But like to have a slingshot, what verboten? It's a Waffen. To have an air gun, or not verboten. A lot of stuff on the internet that I wanted to look at, and it's like even the speech by Charlie Chaplin. No, das ist verboten. Das ist verboten in dein Land. Anything that you looked at regarding Hitler or whatever, das ist verboten in dein Land. And it comes up with it's okay, all right. So strangely considered. I just found out a little while ago that MTV was banned in Germany. Das ist verboten. Because of the promiscuity. They didn't want it. I think it might have changed now with all the other things. And of course, downloading all that's verboten. No, das ist verboten. You can't drive on that side. Das ist verboten. You can't walk. No, you can't cross the traffic. So you learn that everything is verboten. You've got to follow the rules. So now you're going to teach me how to live. Okay. So now I've got this beautiful place. It's just getting into the end of summer, and my mum's in Cape Town, which is about 2,000 kilometers away. It was quite new for her to be in Cape Town. She used to stay in Johannesburg, but my sister was in Cape Town. My sister wanted to, well, she didn't. She said she offered that she could go and stay in the granny flat on her property, and I just said, no, I want her, and she's too much work. And then she moved her into an old age home, a very nice old age home, but hey, that was that. Mum, come up. I haven't seen you for long. Come and enjoy the summer here. We have beautiful Cape Town's got cold, wintry, rainy summers. Winters, it's cold and windy, and Johannesburg is this beautiful fake blue sky, not a cloud, and icy in the morning, but beautiful and very cold at night, but beautiful temperatures in the sun in the day or behind the glass. But yeah, we have this beautiful expansive sky. Hardly ever rains in winter in Johannesburg in winter rains. So Mum arrives. Who picked her up from the airport? I know, some things I can't remember, but I'm not going to try and figure it out. Oh no, I did, but the plane was delayed. A 2-hour flight ended up being 18 hours for my dear mother. She's like 80-something, born in 1933. because the plane had a crazy engine and they had to go to the end of the runway and then go all the way back. Now, these things are really traumatic. You're about to be up in the sky and then the plane's not going because it's about to explode and it's got a faulty engine. So one thing and another, and she lands up going all the way to another airport. Now I picked her up because there was this really sweet young guy that had entertained my mother and they'd had food and supper, and he said, "Your mom's absolutely amazing." So yeah, a lot. The granny flats. Well, they used to be the servants' quarters. They turned into granny flats. And always interesting, almost always in the wealth point of the properties, which I'm fascinated with the feng shui of that. But that's another story day. So I get grannies. I mean, my mother does not like flying at all. So this is like seriously traumatic for her. Because they had to take in a couple of aeroplanes to go from that aeroplane to this one to that airport. Oh, yo. But anyway, at least we got you here. Let's get home, have something to eat, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at my mother. She's as white as my shirt the next couple of days. As white as my shirt. Mommy, don't they have sunshine in Cape Town? When last did you see the sun? It's not really figuring anything out here. No, it's okay. No, she's got the shakes. Blood pressure. She's feeling a little weird. So I said, you know what? Let's just go. Alexander has had a massive asthma attack. We'll go to the doctor. Go to my doctor on Tuesday. In between that time, somewhere between that time, I had decided that now I needed to get a pair of glasses. I needed to get trifocals, glasses that I could see, that I could read with, and that went darken with them, because this is ridiculous now. My eyes, I can't see nicely properly. And it's fine, it's not a problem, it's time to get trifocals with a nice frame and wear glasses all the time. So I do go and I book an appointment to have my eyes up. So when I had the time, I chose the frames. I said, just hold on to them now. I've got the time, then I don't have to do it next time when I come through. And then I'm at home and I'm putting on makeup. I'm putting on eyeliner. I'm very, 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 very seldom wear eyeliner. I put on makeup, very like a moussey thing, almost like just a tinted base, and almost always lipstick. It's a very bad day when I don't wear lipstick, terrible trouble. Because I look a bit like a ghoul. So I've always worn lipstick. And then I have this funny little trick that I do this. And then voila, everything looks fabulous and off we go. I don't have time to do much else. And hair was always like this, or it was stuck up together with like 101 bobby pins. I've been really busy. My life's been busy, It's like any minute I could do something. So I decide now it's eyeliner day. So I'm in the mirror and I'm looking at this and I put eyeliner on and close this on. Fuck. I can't see anything. I can't see anything out of this eye. It's like, this. Oh, what the fuck's going on here? So I better get to a doctor quickly. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's like, obviously need to get it checked. You don't think of anything really serious, like you just think cataracts. I still said to my daughter, and she just went, ha 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 ha, mommy's getting old. Mommy's got a cataract. Mommy's got a cataract. Problem. Just stuck. Make an appointment and we'll get to the doctor as soon as, it's not a life and death thing. Then we had Granny come, okay? So it's not a big thing. So, because I still went to my doctor and she said, okay, because so go to my doctor. She said, Alex's asthma is absolutely off the wall. Give me a vitamin. She said, you at least we know you're going to sort out your stuff, your eyes. That's like flop. She said, but your mother, she's got this, her heart is beating all over the place. It's like, you need to book her into hospital, like now. So We'll go up to the local hospital, and I don't know why she changed it to another hospital. It's been the doctor. I said, well, where's your medical aid card? No, she doesn't have medical aid. I said, what the fuck? Why did you have medical aid? What Karen done? This is the big like sister that's like bully. What do you mean you don't have medical aid? No, you don't have medical aid. So now you can go into a hospital. Well, that's what I thought it was. No, it was optic neurons. We'll get there. It was optic neurons. This is another. It was dreadful. So we'll get to the hospital. Now I've got to like put like a huge amount of money down as a deposit. So okay, all right, fine. Stuck. Actually, that's what I said to it was Jeremy. I said to Jeremy, book Granny in. Yeah, just one person. It's like hectic. My kids and my big kids, it comes round to the place. I mean, it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And the only thing that I did buy were beautiful. But I bought them like cheap ones, like chandeliers, and I changed the light fitting. So I had this magnificent white house with lots of space and beautiful chandeliers, and almost everything was white on white. It was an IKEA dream, and my place here was like small, so white. It was wonderful. You know, all that lovely IKEA stuff. We don't have IKEA in South Africa. They came round, it was Mother's Day, so that was in May. Oh, they were like so weird. Don't you like my place? It's actually turned out, it's called jealousy. They did get a good, decent amount of money from my father as well, but oi. So, you know, you kind of let it slide. I did say to you, you must like loosen up a little bit. You're looking like these other tight-assed South African white women here. You know, like the one that shouted at me for like 2 hours. I did write a letter which nobody took any notice of. So my mother goes into hospital. It was Jeremy booked her in. I didn't book her in. And he put he used his credit card. Well, it doesn't really matter. So Mummy's in hospital. I can't remember what day she went in. It's been a Thursday or a Friday. It's Saturday. It must have been, I could work it out, 2nd or something of July. And Alex has gone off with some friends. It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday. I have taken Yuki off to dog school. Oh, he was so excited. He was so proud of himself. But it's very different dog school, because we've gone to dog school here. It's very quiet and orderly here. In South Africa, it's a barrage of shouting. Everybody's shouting at their dog. I know, and these people are so rude there. I'm putting Yuki's poo packet in the thing, and you know, you can't look at putting the poo packet away and look at your dog. I mean, he's like pretty tethered towards me. And this one, you know, take good care of your dog. Well, I'm throwing this poo away. Just give me half a second. Anyway, Yuki was so proud of himself. He'd done all these amazing tricks. He's a Shiba Inu. So it's Sunday, and I get back. I drop Alex off. They're going off somewhere. They called it the Rastafarian Garden. Remember, Alex doesn't smoke marijuana. I had looked at some local schools. I looked at a lot of schools. But anyway, we settled on this Bishop Baven. And I get home with Yuki, and as we have one of those power outs, which are so often that we have in South Africa, so there's no electricity. And the front gate has got an electrical gate as you go into the complex. So I come in the complex. I know it was dear Wilson at the gate, and Wilson, because when I first got there as well, I would go shopping with my suitcase so that I would pack all my groceries before I had a car. And I had this thing that I would just buy 100 rand, which is like $10 worth of sweets and cool drink and chips for all the security guys. Okay, they could put it in their little kitchen and they could just enjoy. So I bought this like package from the supermarket of chips, etc., etc. And I said, but it's for all of you. You need to share. So you must put it in the kitchen so that everybody can have some. Well, he didn't. He took it all for himself because I asked the gardeners the next day. I said, where did you get this stuff? No. I said, well, where is it? Wilson take it. No, Wilson. God bless Wilson. Wilson sticky toffees. So Wilson is on duty. Now, Wilson's the one that's always letting the boys into the complex. He also doesn't let people in that I want to come in. He's like kind of stirring. But I just like, just ignore the idiot, and say, well, okay, I'll buy the stuff, but I'll put it myself into the kitchen, so that they have a cup biscuits or something with their coffee. Just enough. I don't think about it. This is just what you do, It's not a big deal. I suppose we have to try to correct the hours of contact because, okay, and they float a little. Yeah. Like I also have astigmatism, which is why I managed to cope with this part of it, because I have like a really, really bad stigmatism in the left eye, which I can't play tennis and things like that. Everything, balls just disappear. And if you could look at my eyes, you could actually see it with your eye, that my pupil had a little ding in it. So what happened, but we all have this blind spot. The astigmatism is just worse. So when you have this blind spot, our brain just makes it up, yeah? It's like your nose is visible all the time, but your brain doesn't want to see it all the time, so it just blocks it out. Our eye is connected to our brain stem. It's connected to the brain. It's not apart from the brain, yeah? It's one of the first things that also develop. So this brain with eyes and a spine. So really snaky people. Oh, we're so weird, aren't we just? So this is Sunday, Yuki's come back from, and he's so proud of himself. Now, in a way, kind of maybe part fault. I thought, okay, Yuki can just we park the car and he'll just run off into the house. But he doesn't. He runs off around the complex, and he's actually, because he's absolute weirdest. It's a very rare dog, but there is another Shiba Inu on the property, also called Yuki, which actually belongs to the guy who's the corporate bodybuilder. These little tin gods. We've always joked about them, but they're quite nasty, serious people all over the place. It's one of the problems with those complexes. I'm sure I believe it happens in England too. As usually retired people who now want to whip everybody into shape instead of just living a decent life. So Yuki goes off running. So I'm like, oh fuck, Yuki, come back. So I get to the gates. I say, Wilson, did you see? And he had terrified poor Yuki and was shouting at him. And Yuki had run out of the complex. I'm thinking, oh God, no, Yuki, where the fuck are you? So I was sort of thinking, no. So it's going to be quicker for me to take the car. So I'll drive around the car and try and find Yuki. Got his leash, not catch him quickly. I know that I did one of those things, when I found him, you can't turn the car, you open the door. It's like a whole movie thing. I've got the leash in hand, leave the door open, bag on the seat. I think I did manage to put the flashes, but it's in the middle of the road, not a big road, it's sort of side road. Yuki is up and down this main road. That's a really main busy road. It's like double class biggest road going down through through Bedford View. It's Sunday, 3 o'clock. Oh no, I had somebody hadn't seen my coming at 4 o'clock for tea. I haven't seen him for ages. So I have a friend coming at 4 o'clock. And Yuki's now on this, it's like a freeway. We've got no traffic lights. South Africans have no sense of driving. They have no manners. And I have this dog running up and down the road, and they laugh, And it's also like 3 o'clock is kind of like close. A lot of shops are closing off, so you've got a lot of African workers, like in little groups that have worked in, people that work at the till, in clothing shops, etc., etc. And they're making their way to the taxi rank, which is just round the corner. There's a very big taxi rank down the road. We have these taxi ranks, and if you know anything about South Africa, most people say the taxis, yeah, they do. Who rules South Africa? The taxis. They are a whole new breed on their own. And if you don't drive nicely on the freeway, they'll bang on your roof. They drive wherever they want to drive. They all have guns. But I learned that taxi culture is different. You're not allowed to really talk. You're not allowed to eat in the taxi. And they really do keep a very, very strict eye on what's going on. So, because the police force and everything else is ridiculous. So it's a whole other subculture, and actually really, really organized. And there are lots of long stories about the taxis in South Africa, where they started from. I remember seeing an accident with a taxi, and within a couple of minutes, there was a car that had taxi association written on it. So if you join these taxi associations, they really do look after each other. But obviously, they have the taxi fights, because if you go on anybody else's turf, and of course they didn't like Uber when they arrived, because that was taking away their things. And it was a big thing for many Black South Africans, mainly Zulus, that would actually, that was their dream, was to have a taxi. Yeah, and it's really weird riding, and somebody takes the money. The money just gets passed all the way down the line. It's very quiet, but some of them have like a little TV, and it's very interesting. -1. I don't know what -1 means. Makes sense from stigmatism. I don't know. So I'm now up and down this main road, and the cars are coming, and people don't really like listen to traffic lights or to this mayhem, the way the white people drive particularly. And they don't stick to speed limits. And it's Sunday. Everybody wants to get home, and it's kind of hot. And I have this dog. And every time he sees a car, now I'm like trying to catch Yuki. And every time he sees a car, he runs up to the car, like with a big grin on his face. He's still a puppy. He doesn't know what a flipping car is. And here I am, this crazy red-headed woman. He used to be very red. Like running into the car, so thinking, oh my God, this is not my dog. This is not my dog. The first thing that goes through your mind, it cost me so much fucking money to get here. It cost as much as the container. And then it's like, oh fuck, this is not my dog. What is Alex going to do? He's going to absolutely flip. He's like, he's got the dog. So he's been so proud of himself. He's running up and down to every car, right into them. And I'm like causing mayhem, stopping the cars. And now, the way that I used to think was African people were very scared of our dogs, but it works the other way too. And people walk, because there's lots of them. They walk in like little groups of like 4 people or 3 people or something, and they chatter along the way as they're walking down. They were just so amazingly helpful. So I've got all these little groups of people, and we're trying to catch Yuki. And I've got this plan, and he's dashing up and down and across the road. And they have a problem, this dog on recall. They don't like to come with a call. And I'd say, okay, well, let's get him into a corner into a driveway, somebody's driveway where the gate is, and then we'll like get him into the corner, and then you can just quickly catch his collar and I can get his thing on. But Yuki's so like sneaky, so we get him into the corner and just about to get him, and he ducks and he just laughs at us. And the Shiba Inu, they just laugh. Yeah. So yeah, it's very different. No, but no, the white people don't do taxis. They're terrified of the taxis. Your average white South African, they don't do. They definitely don't do the taxis. I had long ago. I mean, I was like the only white person that could catch a taxi. I remember doing it like years back, and they were like, "Oh, they treat you like royalty." And everybody was moving over. Like comes Mama taxi. And then Yuki goes into the street again. Let's go and say hello to another car. Now, I am starting to really freak. And I'm actually doing these like little swoons. I'm like, oh, God, this is like too much. This went on for over an hour. Because I know that I got back just in time to see Ishvara. He arrived like I just got back. So it was an hour. 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Up and down this road. So now Yuki goes down the road. They are very cute little dogs, and they're really proud of themselves. And he goes, and I just think, oh fuck, the taxi rank, and I can hear this commotion. Oh my God! Now we've got this crazy dog. What the fuck? These people are going to be terrified, and it's rush hour, and we've got the taxi drivers. And what are they going to do? Oh my God, this is not going to be a good synthesis. So I'm like seriously stressing, and everybody, all these black people, these Africans around, they're also like stressing because, like, you know, they want these guys. They want to be out of there. They don't want any hiccups. They're going to stay really. They live on their scooter. They bang on your roof. They just want to be in and out. They don't take any nonsense from anybody. But obviously, I hear this. What? Oh, fuck. So as I turn around and go into the taxi rank, there's Yuki standing on a bench. You know, like the absolute doge, Shiba Inu tail, and he's just laughing and it's got a huge commotion. And I'm thinking, so I say to somebody, okay, have you got any food? Anything to eat? First, they think I want some sweets, so they tell me go sweets. No. Just some food, something that I can get in with food, and I get in with food. So somebody gives me some samosa. Now I've got the taxi. I'm actually having a sweat when I'm thinking I've got all these taxi drivers, and they drive like vans, yeah, bullies we call them here. A minivan. No, what do we call them? Minivans? Minivans. No. And they like in a row, and they wanted to just get out. And I'm thinking, oh God, they're going to absolutely, they're going to shoot me. They're going to freak. They are going to freak. They were so amazing. They were opening the door and trying to get Yuki into the car. I'm not like, no, these people are not like what we told they are. You know, they have such heart. And anyway, then Yuki like runs out of it. We didn't manage to catch him, and this was like, good luck, Mama. Thank you so much. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm having this huge sweet just doing the story. So I've got out. Yuki's now gone out of the taxi rank, and he's about to go up to the flipping main road again. Now, you know, dog will like, maybe he's had enough. He's going to go home, so he's going to go and trace his step. He's going up. I think I literally like fell flat on the ground because I just like shouted, no! Because I knew I could not take, because I'd been swooning. And he's had to pick me up, you know, it's a Victorian lady, give her the sipping salts. So Yuki obviously heard this shattering thing, came for the piece of samosa, little yummy tasty treat in my hand, hooked on his leash, and my instinct told me, like, and I think, he doesn't know. He has no idea what he's done. He just thinks he's had the greatest jaw out in town. I said, yeah, you know, just talk to him nicely. He doesn't know he's done anything wrong. This was an absolute party for him. So I just want to go home and think, no, let's just go back to the taxi rank. Everybody was like so kind and wonderful. So I go back to the taxi rank. Now Yuki's like doing all the heel and sitting and all the things that he can do so nicely on his leash. He's showing off. And I go into the taxi rank and I say, oh God, and they go, and they start ululating. Yeah, Yuki. You know, when the black people are happy, they are so happy. There was like rejoicing, like it was like hallelujah for the Yuki. And we're talking, there's like hundreds of people there. It's not just like a couple of, it's hundreds of people. It's like Sunday rush hour. So off we walk to the car, and I'm thinking, oh God, you know, there's my bags there, money. I'll be amazed even if the car's there. I'll go, because there's all these black people walking up, and my bag was there, purse, like, it's all just lying like I left it. Nothing's been taken. So I just get into the car and I drive home and get Yuki home, and ding dong, ding dong, ding. Here arrives Ishvara. So absolutely love my place. Ishvara is my gay white Hindu friend, and I've had for a long time. Oh God bless it, Ishvara with his caustic tongue. Thanks, Grace. Unity, peace, and love. So what did happen, Grace? If you have another 2 seconds. So Ishvara goes, and now the world's getting very dark. By 5 o'clock, I can hardly see anything. And I'm thinking, no, but the sun's still out. My eyes are just getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Everything's getting incredibly dim. Thank God, everybody needs a good, sensible Jewish friend in their life. I have this friend in Israel, and she says to me, for God's sake, Crystal, just go to the fucking hospital. I said, I can hardly see anything. It's like getting dim. So off I go to the hospital. Well, I'm just like thinking, I don't know if I can actually drive. I said, Alex, you know what? You're going to have to drive. I can't drive. I can't see. I can't see now. So here's little Alex. Because I'm driving the car. I have no support system. So we get to the hospital. It takes obviously a long time. When I eventually see the doctor, he says, there's something here. I'm going to have to take an X-ray. So now, lo and behold, I noticed my daughter's husband worked at a big medical aid agency, and I gave him all my forms. Obviously, the first thing when you move into South Africa, you get onto medical aid. But they laughed so much at my forms because I couldn't spell anxiety. I just you've been in Germany too long. So I spelled it A-N-G, like in Angst. I knew it came from Angst. And they just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed that he forgot to take the forms into the medical aid. So I had no medical aid. So I said, no, it's fine. This is going to cost. So I said, no, it's fine. So I have this X-ray because there's definitely something here in your eye. Strangely enough, my Melissa and Jeremy also, Melissa and her husband actually went to the emergency that day. You know, things were always weird. And I was sitting outside having a cigarette and it kind of came up behind me. I said, no, I don't know, I can't see. I don't know what's going on. But it's like, so I had this big X-ray, and it was obviously now said I didn't have a brain tumor. So, but for goodness sake, you must go to a doctor tomorrow, to an optician. So, they put those yummy drops in your eye and it's dark. Now I really can't see. I just see swoosh, swoosh and some lights. So here's Alex going home. I don't know, he went through a roadblock. He just drove. He just got straight. He just drove straight over. I don't know why they didn't. We were so blessed that we weren't stopped. So I get home. First thing in the morning, I go off to the doctor. And Alex comes with me because I can't drive. I can't see very much at all. By now it's very dim. But it's like where, you can see the big shapes, okay? So He's an Islamic doctor. Give me a doctor from Islam any day. Oh, they have such doctors. So, second, like, the other ones had saved my life. My gay gynecologist. Every girl needs a gay gynecologist. Anyway, so I had, well, did all these tests. And what can you see? And I mean, the more tests that he was doing, the less I was seeing. So I look out and say, I can't see anything. When you see, I can't see anything. It's absolute. And I'm just like crying because I really can't see anything. Well, what the fuck's happened? So he says, okay, and you have like optic neuritis, and you have to get into hospital now. So there's nothing we can do to cure it. So optic neuritis. Thanks, Bonnie. Thank you, my love. Thank you, Grace. Love you so much. Oh, you're a hot puppy. The dog. The Yuki dog. The Yuki dog. Ah, the bugs. So, and I mean, it must have been very traumatic for Alexander as well. Remember, he's just like a 13-year-old young boy in a new country. People are telling him how to behave, and it's definitely not the right way how to behave. But he doesn't know, you just want to fit in and eat the right sandwiches, and have the right shoes. And then they had ransacked his bedroom. Oh my God. Oh, what these children. And they're the white ones, mainly the white ones. I'm going to tell you, the white ones. Or they'd come, they'd all spend the night, and then they would leave early in the morning so they didn't have to clean up anything. Right? You're not so stupid. Give me the little black boys in there. They know how to sweep. Oh, come on, you guys, you know how to sweep. we can't sweep. We're stupid. So I'm sitting and looking after all these wonderful tests of not being able to see very much. This is, you've got to go into hospital now. We can't cure it, but we have to stop it. Otherwise, and Alex says, well, if she doesn't go into hospital now, and you can't stop it, this is how many fingers can you see? So, I can see 3 fingers. So he says to Alex, well, if we don't stop it now, like now, that's what she'll see. She'll see 3 fingers. So I said, well, that's fine. Then I'll be a boxer. I still had a sense of humor in those days. How many fingers can you see? I said, but I can't go in now. Your choice, madam. I said, I can't. I've got a dog. I've got to organize my child. I can't just because you've got to go in for a week. I've got to go into hospital for a week. They put you on a drip for a week. So it's wonderful concoction of steroids and cortisone to actually bring the swelling down. That's what they want to do. They don't know. It's your choice. And very often what it is it could be muscular dystrophy, MS. Is it muscular dystrophy? Yeah. MS is part, but usually it affects younger people with the eyes. But it's a common thing with people with MS that they get this optic neuritis. I believe it's a lot more common than I thought. Obviously, none of us have ever heard of optic neuritis. They call it optic dystrophy here. So for whatever reason, the optic nerve gets inflamed and it squeezes and causes pressure. So obviously he's squeezing the life out of your eyeballs. So this is your choice. I said, okay, well, I'll have to come in tomorrow. So I try to make as many arrangements. Now I've got Alexander alone in the house for a week. The hospital, luckily, is not very far away. We didn't have too many things because we were on the hospital belt, so we didn't have too many of those blackouts. It was very seldom for our house because the hospital wasn't very far away. So that was the 3rd of July, because I know that the 4th of July was when I was packing everything, packing my bag, and I'm trying to get hold of the neighbor next door, this grumpy old man, and say, look, I have to go into a hospital for a week. Could I just, I don't have a support system right now, could you just keep an eye on Alexander? Well, all he does is just start screaming at me and telling me that I shouldn't park my car this way, or, you know, that he doesn't like the children running up and down this. And well, you know, please, let's not discuss this now, but please tell the guys at the gate not to let them in. Now, I've had like countless issues with this guy at the gate. So then I go off down to Peter, who they've got the other Shiva Inu, and I say, please, I've got to go into hospital. This is like really an emergency. Could you just keep an eye on Alexander, please? You know, there's nothing else I can do. I'll try and make arrangements from the hospital, but this is really a matter of like life and death, going blind by the minute, blinder and blinder and blinder. I'm terrified, guys. The whole morning, as I said, the fireworks went off. Every step I'm taking in my home, I'm trying to like pack a bag and everything, get everything together. Every step I take is like I'm crackling powder. It's like, what on earth is that? It's like touch powder. I thought, well, there must be sand in the house, but I couldn't feel or see anything. But it's definitely something that I've realized that the universe will actually warn you of some like impending doom. It's the best and easiest way the angels can actually talk to you. So I get to the hospital. Now I've discovered I have no medical aid. So I have to put, medical aid's not passed yet. So I have to put a mega deposit down. It's terrifying, Bonnie. It's really scary. And I don't really have time to be scared about it, because I'm like more worried about what's going to happen to Alexander. You know, my daughter was actually going into hospital that same day as me, or the next day, because she had endometriosis, and they were doing, and she couldn't like conceive, and she was going to have that all cleaned out. I mean, I planned on being the great mom that would take like chicken a la king and soups and leave that at and go and play mommy and nurture her and help her, you know, get over her crises. You know, here I'm having my own crises, because like it has to happen now. I can't like say I'll come in next week. You know? But that was like this crackling, this explosions. It was like really weird. And I'm trying to get upstairs because I know they have this awesome maid. And I was like, say, you know, I'll give you some money. Can you just like make a chicken or something? Just like put some food there for Alex. Anyway, so now I get to the hospital and I'm wanting to book in. You know, all this stuff takes time. You got to fill out all the paperwork, organize, and like still like trying to organize the money. The money's like gone through. That I've got to like put this huge deposit down. I've got Muslim doctors don't get into a fluff at all. And he's actually phoned now. He knows that I'm there, and he's phoning down, and he's saying, "Where is this woman?" And he's like getting like bordering on a little bit of hysteria. Like, you need to come in now. No, it's all ready. We've got the stuff. Everybody's waiting for you. You know, we've got the drip bags. It's all waiting. Just give us your arm. So now I have a telephone call from my son, my oldest son, Jeremy. Says, Granny can come out of hospital and you need to go and fetch her. I said, Jeremy, I can't. I'm like going blind. I'm like at the hospital, I'm booking myself in. I said, please, can't you bring her home? What am I going to do with flipping Granny? Granny's in the hospital. So I said, no, I can't. I said, but please, Jen, Like, I really, I can't. Oh, and he wants the money back from the deposit. I said, well, I can't do anything about it now. You know that I can only take out X amount of money, and I have to put in a call for it. So rich people have problems with their money. You can't just like get the money. They have to sell things, and whatever if you want these huge amounts of money. There's like medical things and medical expenses, are really like high, and especially if you have to put a deposit and nobody's going to do anything for you. Thank God I had the money. Thank God I did, for both my mother and for myself. Oh, that was what they did. Oh, yeah. Because my mother was on the wrong medication and she was hemorrhaging. It was warfarin. Oh, God, that is what had happened, yeah. And I took her anyway. I do tend to I haven't had time to think of this for a long time. So I said, please, Fitch. No. I said, Jim, please. No, he's got an appointment for his mag tyre wheels in Pretoria, which is like 30 k's away. And he's waited a while for this appointment for his car tyres. And he can't go and fetch his grandmother, who has done so much for him. Well, I did snap a little bit. I said, Jeremy, being a Christian is a lot more. It's a little bit more than having tattoos of the Mother Mary and the prayers and the Our Father all over your arms. It's about actually being a good person inside. Well, he had obviously had some pent-up image badness about me and started swearing at me at a most horrendous rate in my ear, telling me, which I'll have to explain the story to, that I had been forcing my daughter in fucking cocoa. I had a bit of a problem a little while, years back, with Alexander's father, which was like not a bad problem. But telling me that I'd been trying to force my daughter to do crack since she was 12. Which I said, well, I didn't know. I didn't even know what crack was until like Melissa was 18. And the story was that when I was in America, Melissa arrived and she was 12, 13. She was actually 14. So that she was 14, nearly 15 or 15. And when she arrived in America, we'd been there before. She said, oh, I smoke cigarettes. I said, yeah, and what else? And what I'd done, because I know that you can go a little completely wild, was that I had I didn't smoke at the time, but I knew people that did, so I organized that I could get some weed for her. And there were rules. I said, you can smoke at night and you can smoke a little over the weekend, but if you smoke during the day, I fucking will kill you, because this is not it. Because I knew she would go completely crazy, and that was like to get the stuff, yeah. Teenagers, puberty. So that was the actual story about it. So she subsequently stopped smoking and doesn't smoke. It wasn't such a bad idea, but that was where it actually came from. But so it had now developed into me forcing my daughter to do crack when she was 12. He also said something to Alex a few years when he was here in Germany, which like was, I still don't know what he said to Alex, but it was like really, hey, we all go through a phase of disliking our parents, but hopefully we get over it. I got over mine, and I had good enough reason to dislike mine. So anyway, so now I've got to go and fetch Granny. I'm blind, remember now, but now I'm like 95% blind. This is like really turning into a great like 4th of July. So I've got little Alexander. I said, come on, Alex, you're going to have to like go to the hospital. You're going to have to drive. I'm sorry, I cannot see over the steering wheel, but we're just going to have to drive slowly off to the other hospital over the hill. And we get there. And I said, just don't tell Granny. She's like, she can't take any more drama right now, So just keep it very quiet. I'll tell her slowly what's happening. We'll get there. Wear your clothes, Mom. No, she's going to wrap herself up in a black garbage bag to come home. So wear your clothes. She says, no, they're in Jeremy's car. I said, what are they doing in Jeremy's car? No, he didn't give her clothes. She's also got no glasses. She can't see anything. I think, oh, what the fuck? So I said to Alex, okay, go quickly. Just go down to the car because my stuff's in the car. and just like pull out a pair of pajama pants from the top. And you don't think. My mother didn't stop to think like, "Wow, I've got clothes in my car." We don't ask them. We don't ask questions. So dress Granny up, get her into the car. Now remember, she's got all these heart movements. She's no longer as white as my shirt. She has very color in her life. And I get her home and say, look, I had a bit of a problem here. Like I was like, thought I just had like a cataract or something. It's like really bad, and I have to go into hospital. But at least you're here. And my mother doesn't drive. She hasn't driven for years. Well, she would, but she didn't drive. So it's really just going to be you and the cat and the dog and Alexander for a week. So try not to stress too much. I'll be back. So get into hospital. And I'm thinking, oh, this is really cool. I've got a beautiful diary. This is all going to work beautifully. And I'm going to wake up after a few days or tomorrow morning. They're going to stop this. I'm going to see. And I'm going to be singing. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. That's my motto. Nope. This is not what happens. So you go on this trip like twice a day for like a week. And each day was drama. So now Alex has got the keys to my car. He stays with all these crazy kids wanting to be by the mall. And we've got Granny, who has literally just, not quite, but pretty close. She's gone into her room. She's locked herself into the room with a bottle of gin under the bed. And that Granny's not coming out. Just too much for her to cope with. All these crazy teenagers. She's a very sweet, sweet soul. But yeah, Alex just take my card, go and get hamburgers, go and get anyway. Alex went a little ballistic with our money card, and then he would come up with the card, and he would bring Yuki to visit me, and Yuki was like, shame, poor Yuki. He just wanted to like look after me, and the kids would go crazy and push me up and down the hospital in the wheelchair and try to entertain me because now we're going blind. I had the Hummer come and visit me. But yeah, no, it wasn't funny. So as I'm in hospital and I speak to Melissa, I said, Melissa, on the phone, I'm really Grace, I have this. I don't know what's happened. What's all this nonsense with Jeremy? What is he saying that I have forced you to do crack when you were at 12? She said, he's got having stuff at the moment. He'd had a very serious car accident a couple of months before. A few people were killed. It's all over the news. It was not a very pleasant thing that he managed to get out of there alive. It was like insane. There's actually even pictures of like, and it's such a clear, like a little gremlin in the car. So yeah, he was having quite a lot of good salvage stuff. Without sound. Yeah, you can't follow. That's very interesting. Yeah, they often say sound is worse than losing. See, lipstick. Sound is worse than losing your sight. Because you can still reorientate yourself with sound. So my journey in the hospital was also really interesting. We became like girls misbehaving badly, smoking out the window, running outside to George for a light. You put a bunch of crazy women together in the hospital. And I was there the longest. A lot of women came. It was very interesting. It was like serious depression. And that was the beginning hugely of those anxiety attacks. But things were like And it was really affecting badly. I mean, there was a woman who worked for Sasol, which is like Shell, and she had to put, oh shame, because this was going to happen now too. We need to discuss this more. She had to lay off people, like the whole town, or 2/3 of the town would have no work, and it just affected her really, really badly. It was quite a place quite far away, so I don't know, but anyway, she landed in, because it's a good hospital where I was at. And her husband was, because I don't know what my son was up to. And he was like, "Oh, Jeremy, you must be so proud of him. Is that your son?" I don't know what I must be proud of, but anyway, like, he does such good work. Blah, blah. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. We'll discuss Jeremy another day. Okay. Oh, he is quite famous. And then I had this other woman who's in the movie industry. And she smoked a lot of marijuana, and then she started getting insane panic attacks. But it's also this insane stress that people are at. Then I get this phone call in the hospital from the police. "Madam, we have your car here and your son here." What's going on? "We want to arrest these children. They're underage, driving this car, and they are in the park and they're doing donuts." What? Remember, I'm here in the hospital. I warned you guys, going blind is the easy part. I still can't see much. It's a lot clearer. The pain is intense. I want to like rip my head out, my eye out. Yeah, I still can't see, like almost nothing here. Funnily enough, I could read up here. Well, I couldn't like read, but I could see up here. It was amazing. Like, you take a piece of paper, like, you have to sign things. They give you the stuff to read, and the paper's completely blank. When you sign, you can't see anything. But this is where you say, "Just show me where I can still write. I know how to write. I haven't lost like my faculties." But it's like everything's gone white. It's like very, very, very strange. Seeing, you can see big things, and I think like I would recognize people by the way they walked, by their gait, and the shape of their body. So shapes in a way becomes like doing puzzles, became like really like, but as for like anything else, very, very difficult. So thank goodness this woman said, "No, let me talk to these police cops." So she managed to appease them, and that they wouldn't arrest my children and impound my car. The kids I'd never heard of, so they got hold of my car. Then Alex proceeds to come to me and says, "Mom, I don't know how you manage. How do you manage to do all of this?" Because I'm in usual good German fashion and mom fashion, I'd written him a list of the stuff that he needed to do. Even though you can't see, you can still write. The things that he needed to attend to, like feed the dog, water the garden, check on Granny, do a live call. He says, "How do you manage to do this?" He says, "I found the stuff that makes it so much easier to do everything." Like, what are you talking about? "No, it's called cat." What the fuck are you talking about? He said, "No, you must try it, Mom. It makes life so much easier." So, like, I'm stuck on a fucking drip here, guys. I have a 14-year-old with all these other wild children, ranging from 14 to 18. White trash. They're experimenting. The drug problems in South Africa are like horrendous. Alex has got my credit card. He's buying hamburgers, takeouts, and obviously crack for everybody else. And there's nothing I can do. And I've got Granny. Where's Granny? No, she doesn't come out of her room. She just comes out sometimes. Where's Granny? She's in her room. Oh my God. There's another. Oh, right. So now I get a phone call from the school. It's the end of the term. I'm still in hospital. So Alex had a problem at the school because he was dared to take a video of one of the teachers. She was a very tiny little girl, not kind of a little sexy, definitely not worth the hype. And Facebook, everybody, all the kids knew her Facebook. It was just beginning, blah, 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 blah. And they had said to Alex, take a video of her. She was such a nice little ass. So Alex doesn't know. He just takes a video of her and sends it to some of the kids, and it's obviously some posted. They call me in. No, this is like serious disciplinary thing. She is terrified. She's like having like psychotic effects. But this is like seriously put on. Like your Karens in America. I didn't realize this was what I was like, jumping into lock, stop, and smoking barrels. No, she's having all this trauma because just now it's going to be all over Europe as well. And I looked at the video and it's really like not a bad video at all. No, it's definitely not worth it. It was like about half a minute of her from the back walking in the classroom. It's like a little bit excessive. But so anyway, they said no, he needed to do community service, and his teacher, Miss Minnie, is telling him for sure. She absolutely adores Alex. Nothing is going to worry. So, okay, fine. So community service, I think that's a great idea. So he's supposed to go and be with deaf children every Tuesday. But the bus never comes, or they don't go, or they cancel, or so, get your picture straight, guys. I do like Germany. Of course, I'm thinking all the time, like, if this had happened in Germany, I would know exactly what to do. It would be not a problem. Alex would be old enough to be at home on his own at that age, but they would make sure that food was delivered, or they would organize with the people downstairs and pay them. But that food would be delivered. They would obviously alert the school, and they would come and check on him like once or twice a day to make sure that everything was okay, and obviously give phone numbers. But that would have been how things would have worked. No problem, no drama at all. One phone call. So now I'm still in hospital. My drip. And in between that, I'd like slept with my drip, and I'd woken. Alex was there over my bed, and the drip had blooded. And I took my head, and it was this perfect heart of Jesus. I was like the Mother Mary, the sacred heart of Jesus. So, Alexander, the school phones. So, school is finishing at the end of that week. So, I need to come in, and I need to please collect his report card personally, and they don't want him to come back next term. And if he does, because like the kids are smoking, they've gone completely wild. In fact, most of the children left the school at that time because it was not my son, but he was just an easy and nice one to be picked on. He has this personality. It happened here, happens all over for him. Blessed Alexander. But I need to come in personally to pick up his report. I said, well, I can't. Please, could you just deliver it to where I live or post it? Because I'm in hospital and I'm on a drip. So I can't come up. I've had an emergency. What it is got nothing really to do with you, but I am here in hospital on a drip. No, I need to come in by myself. I said, no, I can't. I'm in hospital. I'm on a drip. I can't move. I've got things in my arm. No, I need to come in personally, and school's closing now. I said, I can't. Like now I'm starting to get a little upset. I said, like, what part of stupid are you? I really, really can't. You're being so rude. I said, no, you're being stupid. I said, okay, this other woman. I said, please just handle this. Explain to her, because I have not got the patience to do this, that I can't come out of hospital. I can't come out of hospital and fetch the bloody report. They did manage to deliver it to the house. And I did manage to get my deposit back from them. They were more worried about that. But Alex had managed to pass Afrikaans very well, which was what we discussed that we didn't need to do because it's like Black Deutsch. So that was it. We had no school for Alexander. It was a dramatic. So now I get out of hospital. Just trying to think what happened. Oh, right. So this is the day I get out. Now, Alex, these kids are wild. They have drivers. They are out partying. This one kid's 15 and his sister's 11 or 12 and she's going with him. It's like all these drugs, and as Alex is saying, these kids are like smoking crack and they're passing out in the toilets. This is like a nightmare, and I'm stuck and I can't see. And he's got my keys and he's got my credit card, and my house is full of all these children. They've all arrived. I've just come out of hospital and they don't know how this works. Oh, one of my best two things in Hollywood, like these got these like really prim and proper Afrikaners with so much to say, and you get in the lift and we would just like laugh at them, and it's like, oh, everything's gone to the dogs, the blacks are taking over. Oh, you know, give me the good old days. It's all you hear people talking about. You want the good old days. It's like super hyper religious people, and I would just say to the woman behaving, she looked like Joanna Lumley, you know, so we really like women behaving badly. Let the matron come and tell us to behave ourselves. Let us smoke out the window. I said, no, you know what I'm going to jump on? This is like amazing medications. When these people start, I'm just going to fart in the lift. And therefore, like we and push all the buttons, and push it up to the top floor. It will like serve them right. So yeah, now so I'm managing to cope. I mean, you walk around or be wheelchaired around for a while, but yeah, you kind of walk against the wall and with the railing. And I can remember like coming out and shouting at somebody because people have got very low tempers in South Africa. And told me to get out of the road, and I said, I can't see where I'm going. I'm sorry, I'm blind. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. So now we get home. I have this house full of children. I've just come out of hospital. They're smoking. I'm sure they're drinking. I have no idea. I just want to go to bed. And I'm thinking, okay, there's only one prescription for optic neuritis, no stress. And then we hope and we pray that in a year it will be a lot better. That's the prescription for optic neuritis. And we just make sure we monitor the swelling. We've got to come and we do all the tests for MS, multiple sclerosis. I said muscular dystrophy, it's muscular sclerosis. And we just keep monitoring. But what medications would you like? You're in a lot of pain. Cool, you can have as much as you want for your eye and as much tranquilizers and Valium and things as you like. You know, when they kind of give you that kind of thing, you kind of know things are a little shitty in South Africa at least, where they give you free rein to whatever medication you would like to ease your problems. This is not good. So I've got all these kids, eventually they go out, and I have one parent like freaking out because she's taking a drug test on her son and he smoked marijuana, and now I've got to deal with this. I said, listen, honey, I don't know where your son was. Don't blame my son. He doesn't smoke. I know he don't smoke. He's too terrified to smoke. These kids are just taking complete advantage of Alex and she said, well, they're taking advantage of you too. I said, you're damn straight they are. I mean, I've just come out of hospital. The situation was like really like rough. Yeah. What do you expect? Crazy teenagers are like Lord of the Flies. We never read that book. Oh God, we'll go. So we will end on this. We'll talk about the bed story. So I think, okay, no problem. We will just do a Frida Kahlo. We're going to go to bed for 3 months. we're going to make this smoke. It's like this beautiful office, and my daughter had lent my big, beautiful stinkwood sleigh bed, which I'd left because I didn't want to sell it for. It was my aunt's. She'd given it to me. It was like this huge, super king size, and it was really good. And I didn't want to sell it for like absolutely nothing. Yeah, I was like, get a decent price, which was not much, 5,000 rand, which was like $500 for it at the time. That's what I wanted, and people didn't want to offer me, especially with the beds. But people, I said, no, I'm not selling it for less. So I said, okay, no problem. I will get the bed. I will have this huge, enormous bed, and I shall just do a Frida Kahlo and paint and nurture myself and take rest and look after my kid at the same time. But just really just go to bed for like 3 months and just, really, really rest, take it easy, no stress. So that is where we're going to leave today. Yeah, you need your vision to drive, among everything else. Absolutely everything else. Luckily, then I had these walking sticks that you have in, they do this walking, Nordic walking. So I bought some from Germany. So I used those. They were wonderful. You have a stick. I was terrified to walk in my apartment at first. I did phone my friend. He said, my darling, if you hear the angels singing, go in the other direction. Just look for the White House. But if you hear the angels, if you hear Nina Hagen, go that way. Just don't go to the cherubim. Blah, blah, blah. My mother was, she was kind of helping me. Thank God she was a support in a way. But I had to just carry on. The next day, I just because I wasn't singing. I can see clearly now. I wasn't singing then at all. I would try to read a book and open it and all the pages are blank. A printed book. So it gave me a lot of what is blind. I was 90% blind then, and I went to the doctor. Said no, now this eye. It's very rare to have it in both eyes. So the pain in the left eye was horrendous. I wanted to actually take the eye out, but I had this tiny, weeny, weeny little bit of vision that gave me that teeny, weeny, weeny little bit of perspective. Otherwise, everything would have been flat. But you go into this absolute panic, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? What am I going to do? I need to make money. I need to make living. How am I going to look after Alex? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, then I can organize. I can get taxis. I can phone. I have no support system. I'd been in. So when did we arrive? April, May, June. 3 months. I'd been in South Africa for 3 months. The few people that I did connect with, I thought, this place was just so beautiful. I wanted to share it and do beautiful garden parties and sell beautiful clothing and artwork and stuff that I've made from home. Have buying and selling Tupperware parties, but with beautiful clothing. Because there was just so much richness and culture that I had actually got from Germany. Yeah. Even just selling our cleaning products, and I'd done an importing and exporting course, which was really very interesting. So I'd done a lot in Germany. So I had really learned the government, the teaching skills were just amazing. That they really do put you through a lot if whatever you need. And I was doing a Photoshop and computer programming course. It was the last one I did. So that was very interesting as well. I'd done Photoshop with but everything with my photography, but everything in my life came through my eyes. And It was like really weird for me, and it was like the questions I had. I wasn't really angry. It was just like I don't understand. There's obviously a reason because I've always lived my life pretty much like that. But I've always been so grateful for my eyes. I knew my eyes were like really different in a way to the way that most people could see. I had an extremely fine sense of beauty and a very, very fine sense of color. I stopped arguing with people about color long ago. And I went into this kind of flat panic, and I thought, well, what I can do, I can't do jewelry. I can't like paint. I can't see. I can't be an Uber driver. um, I couldn't even watch television. I'd just like vomit. I just like this mush, like dirty water. And I thought, I know what I can do. I can make I can make fairy castles out of toilet rolls. Oh, the freaking! I did. I collected like you know this like what am I going to do? 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 And I'm trying not to do this in front of Alex because he's obviously, you don't want him to know that I'm wondering what am I going to do. So I had these bags collected of toilet rolls and rolls. So I thought, I can feel them, and I don't need to really see. I can feel to put these beautiful little castles together. Maybe I should have stuck at making fairy castles with toilet rolls. My mother, God bless her, she wouldn't cook. Okay. She would cut up fruit for me and serve it to me with like honey and yogurt. And she'd cut up stuff for salad, but she wouldn't cook. So I had to continue cooking. And that was really interesting. You really just develop your inner skills, your inner listening, the body program. So luckily I pretty much had everything, like my herbs and everything, because I packed everything as it was, and I knew that if I put herbs in, it was so much, or if I used salt, it was so much. So you learn to tune into that. Okay. So moving around. Eventually, I could move around the house without a stick. I tried to get people to help me to be a maid. But it was like too hectic. They would leave the brooms and things all over, and then I couldn't see them, so I'd trip over them. And then I had some lady come in, and she decided to change my cupboard. I'd gone to the doctor or something, and this wasn't so. They weren't healing, So I had to go in quite a few times for that concoction. I couldn't do it right away because otherwise you'll overdose on this stuff. And as they say, they don't know how it's going to work. It will work. They don't know how to work. I had four intravenous treatments over the next 1.5 years. But yeah, the shit was about to hit the fan. This was the easy part. So yeah, you cook by feel. You know where everything is. You know how to clean just because you know how to clean. It's like you can't see, but you know how to clean. I couldn't watch television at all. I just want to vomit because it's like, oh, it's like you can't see anything anyway. It's just all blends into each other. And then outside, I mean, thank God my mom was there. You know? My sister, strangely, she didn't phone. I asked for my bed back. And first I was told it was broken. So then I was told they didn't have it. Who the fuck's lying here? I said, well, then just give me the money and I can go and buy another bed or something. You want my bed, but you pay me for it. I never gave it to you. I don't even know you. You couldn't even bother to go to my daughter's wedding. Oh, that fuck. So the children didn't want to talk to me anymore because in fact, they came round. We spoke with Jeremy, and Alex spoke to Jeremy, and Jeremy, who really shouldn't because he's a fighter, came around to beat him, and Duvan, my daughter's husband, came around to beat Jeremy up. He's 14. You bloody big, bloody MMA fighter, you're coming around to beat up your brother? But there was some like serious Tokolosh stuff, some like voodoo, some really bad stuff going on between Duvan and Jeremy. Jeremy was like, there was that movie with that boxer. I don't know if you ever saw it with oh, I can't really think of his name right now. He was a Chinese boxer, and they would they put a collar on him, and then he would be tame. And when they with Morgan Freeman, and when they undid the collar, he would go completely wild. And something like that was happening to Jeremy. I don't know exactly, but it was. And he would he'd walk around, and Duvan was like, it's Melissa's husband. He would Jeremy would be like this little puppy dog behind, like almost on this invisible string. It was very weird. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This was like before the shit hit the fan. I started to realize that people had in the beginning, when I've also first arrived, I wanted to share a lot of what not the money, but share beautiful parties and enjoy not a lavish lifestyle by any means. But some people were like really, I've got money. Oh, you've never got money. No, I don't. I definitely haven't got money to take you out for dinner and drink wine. I don't do it for myself. I'm not taking you out, you know. Who the fuck are you? My life was going so crazy that a lot of my friends had a few friends, and I don't have many friends, but a few good friends had moved out of Johannesburg. You know, they were older than me, some had gone to retirement. And when they came up, I thought, you know, I don't actually want to involve them in my life right now. Everybody's gone really weird, and I don't want to hear people saying, "Oh, Crystal, Shay." So I just needed to. My mother would say to you, "You need to go and pray and ask God to fix your eyes." I said, "Well, if God doesn't know that I want my eyes fixed, it's fucking stupid." I was more, you know, I have a very beautiful relationship with God. Well, I did have, yeah. That came. It's another. So it's been a very interesting journey, and my mother would sit and say, "Can you see the stars? Can you see the stars?" And say, "No, I can't see the stars. No, I can't see the fucking stars." Or, "Can you see the moon?" "Yeah, somewhere there's a moon." Yeah. And then I realized, oh, well, I didn't need to see the moon, because if I looked down on the ground, my light, on some level, my eyes were so hypersensitive that they would pick up all the light. So like this Buddha here, I would see these little sparkles. It's like fairyland on the ground. No, I didn't need to look. I didn't need to see the stars. There's tons of stars at the bottom of the ground. But I had to really learn to do everything again. The vision was terrible. And what I could see, the shapes that I could see then still had big holes in them, because that's what happened to this eye with the astigmatism. So it's got holes in it. So wherever I looked was like dog, but it looked like cow poo. Bloop. That's what everything looked like it was splattered. The little bits I could see was splattered with cow poo. Couldn't God have given me something prettier to look at than cow poo? Certain colors, I couldn't look at red. I couldn't. Yellow would make me vomit. I could only look at really pale blue. So I used to use those highlighters to write with. And I could vaguely see it, but I had to when you have money, people also become really. Yeah, it was very hard with teenagers. Very, very, very hard for me. Because they're on their own. And he was having more than enough. He was, him and Jeremy were so in love. Jeremy was his father figure, and he'd had some problems in Germany where, Jeremy couldn't see him for some reason and was cancelled. So there was a lot of those traumatic things. And to have Jeremy also turn on him like that was like really hard. So he didn't talk about it. He just got like quieter and quieter. And he's a really, really beautiful boy. You know, the drugs went a little bit. We'll talk about that another day. Just how I dealt with it at the time, because they, you know, he's got my car. Everybody's wanting drugs from him. He's not a dealer, but you know, he's got a credit card, and he's got a mom that really can't fight. So it was like, it was rough. It was very, very rough. And to, you know, oh yeah, and it was really, must have been very, very hard for him. Luckily, he got a really beautiful young girlfriend who actually was older than him. But things were going like really so weird. I mean, the old man, as I just all he could do when I got back was come and moan and shout and scream at me and tell me that I should have left my gate there. You know, they had a problem and he had to climb over my wall because I had like the main box for the telephone box on my property, which nobody told me about. And he had to climb over with a ladder, and this was not acceptable, and I needed to leave a key at the front. I said, well, you could have just put your hand over and opened the gate. It wasn't locked. So yeah, you know, my body corporate, you know, what became like a really witch hunt of absurd proportions. So money was a really weird thing. Yeah, we'll tell you more about that. Yeah, and this is near the end of it, when I mentioned to some people that they know this goes on in South Africa. I managed to unearth, and I think it goes on all over the world. But I managed to unearth it, and I have like so much proof and writing around it. And they said, "Oh, they got you. They really got you good. They got you from every angle." Yeah, and I just kept standing. And then I came to Germany, and they fucked me over even more. So now I'm up. So that's been a very interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure when I'll discuss this again, maybe on Friday. So then we'll talk about, well, the bed. We ends there with the bed. So I didn't get the bed back. I definitely didn't get a chance to stay in bed. I would just get up. I would drag myself up every day, and I can just remember thinking, well, what should I do with my wonderful life today? And every single thing was terrifying for me. You have to like learn to walk again. You have to learn to go up and down stairs again. Then I had my garden. I can remember trying to plant a plant in my garden. I actually nearly passed out because I was too. And I had this gardener who was really my wonderful shepherd, who worked in the complex, but he was the gardener, and he would like kind of come and help me. Yeah, the Tokolosh lady. But I literally passed out, just sheer terror of like trying to put this plant, dig a hole and put this plant in the garden. Terror, petrified, and you know petrified because you just stop. There's nothing you can do. You can't move. Yeah, as I said, I had this woman try to come as a maid to come clean a helper, a housemaid, and she decided. Now I had two wardrobes. One was grey and the one was beige. There was very little else in Germany. Black and grey and the white and beige, a couple of colours. And I came home, and she told me that she had reorganized my wardrobe. Now the way that I could feel my clothes, I could feel my clothes. I would go by the feel of them. And because when I first moved in, I was like in my very anal German thing, and I would put little labels, like things like pants, like t-shirts, camisoles, shorts. So they were kind of labeled. I was very German. I learned to be very German, and I learned to find my clothes by feel. I knew what this felt like, so we learned to go completely by feel. Yeah, cooking by feel. And I lost my sense of smell, and my sense of taste was kind of there, but not that strong. But I lost my sense of smell. My mother would try to take us out sometimes for dinner, and it just looked like vomit. Whatever I looked at, plate was just like this yellowish, brownish, texturish vomit. So it was not a very pretty place to be in. And yeah, the pain was extraordinary. So yeah, then I didn't have anybody help me in my home. So I actually asked Shepherd. I said to him, Shepherd, like, I know that in Rhodesia, because he came from Zimbabwe, when my granny was there, we used to have she used to have a house boy. I said, excuse the, I don't need to be rude, but would you be willing to, it's mainly for Alexander, would you be willing to come and help me clean the floors and just tidy up Alex's room and do the bathroom? Alex, mine I can do myself. I've always done my own. And it's not that you can see to clean, you know how to clean because you've been doing it for so long. Which the idiots couldn't understand. Like, and then I was terrorized by people there, absolutely bullied and terrorized because I had money and I was a woman on my own. And I said to my mum, stayed for a while, and I still said to her after Alex's birthday, I said, I'm going to ask you one of the most selfish things in my life is please stay a little bit longer. I can't cope with this on my own. So at least she made me laugh. Yeah. And she chopped up vegetables for me. But it was like every day, what can I do? And some days it was just like, just do one thing. Just do absolutely one thing. Yeah. Hi, my lovely. I'm going to go. I need to go. And yeah, money was like, I was really taken with the things that happened, but we'll go into that because it's like really, maybe I'm too trusting, but somewhere there's a healing story for everybody, and the story just gets wilder and wilder. Going blind was the easy part. Alex did, thank God, manage to calm down. But at that time, and if he wanted the car, oh my God, he would just scream. Anyway, I need to go. Just see, I think I need to go. Has anybody heard it? PG needs lots of praise. Sorry, I'm just looking at something here. See the time. Ah, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, the early days were, I think I mean, they were horrible, but they were also like, you're just like, what can I do? How can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I was like so inundated with pain and to try to like, so now I remember, of course, Alex has not got a school. So we have to now find another school for Alexander. So the whole schooling system was also like completely, people are just like, yeah. So then I started to drive, and that wasn't just because I drove, because I wanted to drive. It was Alex was off the wall with this whole bunch of white trash that were like hanging out at our house, like seriously white trash. And he was being their chauffeur, and if I wanted the car, he would start to me, you just white trash, you this, you that. And so, you kind of just keep quiet. um, and Alex, he's got a wonderful hectic way with words. He's like a real master of. I always said he could have been an excellent lawyer. Yeah. But yeah, I remember he's like got a lot of his own drama trouble at that moment as well. But still a really beautiful boy, and I mean he was being so overwhelmed by these kids that were just coming in and smoking shisha and burning the floor and slashing his his chair and putting voodoo magic in there and lots of stuff and just using all his, I came through. I thought I didn't have to buy hair products, virtually anything except food and a fridge and a car for like about a year, if not a year and a half. Now I came like really prepared to South Africa. I really didn't have to buy anything. Because I wasn't leaving Germany. I was going to stay, so I had a really full household of stuff, and yeah, they were very demanding. It would have to, and he would like, I've got to go and fetch them. I said, no, you don't. And then they would start that I'm racist, and he had no idea what racist. I said, I'm not racist. I'm definitely not. I'm not the way I was brought up and the things that I went through in my life. I'm definitely not racist. You can call me a lot of things, guys, but I'm not racist. I would have got a smart clap. My father came from Germany. No, no. He was not political, but he did say that if he was black, he would definitely have been ANC. But they never spoke about it at home. But we were told to always respect our elders and to respect people. And they did, no matter who you were, pretty much from whatever walk of life. In a way, especially in business. They always helped the little man and helped a lot of black people start businesses in South Africa. They made cream jars, packaging. Well, first it was engraving, and then it was packaging. And he had a really good name, and he was known as a Madiba in his own right. They had their staff for since however many years they were there, 30, 40 years they had the business. And they had pretty much the same staff. Obviously, the staff got more, but the staff were very deeply respectful of him. He was a very fair. He paid his people under the table, especially John, because John took over the engraving side. My father started off as an engraver, and he taught John, which was forbidden in South Africa. We had job reservation, so black people were allowed to use a broom, and they could ride a bicycle to be a delivery boy. They could be a petrol attendant, and that was about it. And they could be security or a flat boy, which was cleaning your flat, or a miner. So, they had lots of options. That's it. That was pretty much the options. And we had job reservation where you were not allowed to teach people skills. They were taught enough skills in school. This was what Dr. Favut said at the time he was assassinated. He was that they need to learn just enough mathematics so that when they go to the shop to buy cigarettes and bread and milk for the madam, that they can count the change. And that was their schooling system. So if you go into the South African riots in 1976, that was about, they were being told that they had to do it all in Afrikaans at school, and they didn't want to do it in Afrikaans. But obviously it was a lot more to it, which white people don't know. It's like America. I do a lot of studies at the moment of America. Who's been fascinated, and right now, and it's interesting. It's like by African Americans, and I'm learning more about the white American culture. It is amazing, like from virginity to sexuality to food and it's very rich. It's not Yeah, I mean, you definitely had racism, but your guys could still open up some businesses. They could not. Well, in the ghettos they could, but not in the cities. No. And there's certain jobs like that people had. Where my parents worked, or downtown, where I spent a lot of time as a child and as a young adult. I was like the only white face around. You don't think about this as a child, yeah. But there would be these shops that were called native shops. I can just smell them. They smelled of tobacco and muti. They were muti shops, but had always had to have a sign on the outside. It's a native shop, and they were run by Indian people. So different people had different things they could do. But a shop like that could not be run by an African person. And they sold clothing and hats and shoes and socks and cowtails and shamboks and always this big pile of tobacco and beadwork. Some of the medicinal stuff that they used. And then later on, as a very creative teenager, I would go shopping. You could buy good old Lee jeans. Yeah, they were wonderful. They were kind of like the fashion sense was stuck in the 50s, which was a good time in South Africa for them. It was before apartheid became so entrenched. It was in 1961. It was the year of my birth that apartheid became like a really serious law. Before that, it was there, but it wasn't an actual law. So in the end of the late 50s, you had places like Sophia Town, which was just amazing, where black and white people did live. They didn't really cohabitate, but they lived on the same street. And then they just like rammed that down, and then they built Vrededorp, which means the place of freedom. So they did that to a lot of African villages. Well, not villages, a lot of like city, a lot of places in the city. So yeah, just with music and food. Yeah, I kept them together. So let's go and have a fourth. Oh, go and enjoy, Bonnie. Sorry, I will. Thank you, and Lottie, and yeah, we will do something different on Monday. Please spend some time. I hope if anybody's heard from PG, let us know. I do hope he's going to be okay. So I've made a huge for me. So lots of energy coming through. Go and enjoy, and just ride the magical wave. And we'll see you in Truth Wave tonight. So many huge blessings, and thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to my story for so long. I really appreciate it. I love you all lots, and yeah. So this is just the beginning. I'm not sure if you'll enjoy the story or not, but it's like it does begin to open up to huge human character, which is all over the world. We love you lots, and have an awesome 4th of July. Yeah, and many blessings and protections for America. It's a big new beginning. Love.